The drifting prey. Captain Thex-9 adjusted her neural interface as the bridge of the Zephyrian exploration vessel, Star Whisper hummed with quiet efficiency. Her elongated cranium pulsed with soft bioluminescent patterns that indicated deep concentration. The outer rim territories were supposed to be empty space, perfect for their mineral survey mission, but something had appeared on their long-range sensors that demanded investigation. "Captain, we have confirmed identification on the unknown vessel," reported her science officer, a younger Zephyrian named Clix, whose excitement caused his natural luminescence to flicker rapidly. "It appears to be a human research ship, designation Aurora's Promise. The vessel is approximately 800 meters in length and shows signs of significant structural damage." Thex-9's optical sensors focused on the main display. The human ship drifted motionless against the backdrop of distant stars. It hull scared and darkened. Several sections showed clear signs of explosive decompression, and no energy signatures emanated from the vessel. It looked exactly like what it appeared to be, a casualty of the dangerous frontier regions where pirates and raiders made life hazardous for explorers and merchants alike. "Any life signs?" the captain inquired, though she already suspected the answer. "Negative, Captain. No biological activity detected. No power core emissions, no communication signals, no movement whatsoever. The ship appears to have been drifting for several standard cycles, possibly longer." The bridge crew exchanged glances. In Zephyrian culture, the discovery of a derelict vessel carried both opportunity and responsibility. Galactic salvage laws were clear about abandoned ships in unclaimed space, but more importantly, their moral code demanded they investigate the possibility of survivors, no matter how remote. "Scan for any hazardous materials or unstable systems," Thex-9 ordered. "If the ship is safe to approach, we will conduct a proper investigation. These humans may have families who deserve to know their fate." As the Star Whisper moved closer to the derelict vessel, more details became visible. The Aurora's Promise had clearly been a research ship, not a military vessel. Its hull bore the distinctive markings of the Human Scientific Coalition, complete with symbols indicating its mission parameters: deep space geology and xenobiology research. The damage patterns suggested an attack by energy weapons, possibly followed by internal explosions that had gutted several sections. Engineer Clix studied the tactical display with growing fascination. "Captain, the damage patterns are unusual. Most of the hull breaches appear to be in non-critical sections. The main engineering and life support areas show impact damage, but no complete structural failure. Perhaps the crew managed emergency repairs before." Thex-9 paused, not wanting to voice the obvious conclusion. "Before life support failed," Clix finished quietly. "The boarding operation proceeded according to standard Zephyrian protocols." Thex-9 led a small team of volunteers across the void in environmental suits, their bioluminescent patterns dimmed to avoid startling any possible survivors. The Aurora's Promise had emergency docking ports that still functioned, suggesting some systems had remained operational longer than their scans indicated. Inside the human vessel, the Zephyrian team found a ship that told a story of desperate survival. Emergency lighting cast eerie shadows through corridors lined with human technology that seemed both primitive and ingeniously efficient. Personal belongings were secured in crew quarters, and research data filled computer terminals that had been properly shut down to preserve information. "The crew knew they were dying," observed Clix as he examined a laboratory filled with carefully preserved biological samples. "They took time to secure their research before the end." Thex-9 felt a surge of respect for the unknown human scientists. Even facing death, they had prioritized their discoveries over their own comfort. Such dedication reminded her why the Zephyrian collective had always maintained positive relations with humanity, despite their species' reputation for aggressive expansion. The ship's bridge told the final chapter of the story. Captain's logs indicated the Aurora's Promise had been conducting routine surveys when they encountered what appeared to be a disabled merchant vessel. Upon offering assistance, they had been attacked by pirates using the merchant ship as bait. The human crew had fought bravely but been overwhelmed by superior numbers. "Captain," Clix's voice carried excitement tinged with concern. "I am detecting energy signatures approaching our position. Multiple vessels, moving fast." Fex-9 activated her communicator. "Star Whisper, report." "Captain, we have 5 unknown vessels approaching from the asteroid field. They were completely hidden until now. Configuration matches Vorthan radar patterns." The realization struck Fex-9 like a physical blow. They had fallen into the same trap that had claimed the Aurora's promise. The pirates had been using the derelict human ship as bait, waiting for curious salvagers to investigate before revealing themselves. "All teams, return to the ship immediately," she ordered, but even as the words left her vocal apparatus, she knew it was too late. The lead Vorthan vessel established communication with typical raider arrogance. "Zephyrian ship, you have entered our territory and claimed our property. Surrender your vessel and cargo, and you may leave in your escape pods." Vorthan pirates were among the most feared in the galaxy. Their species had evolved as apex predators, and their raiding fleets showed no mercy to those who resisted. The Star Whisper was an exploration vessel with minimal weapons, no match for a Vorthan war party. "We are peaceful researchers," Fex-9 transmitted back. "We were only investigating the derelict for survivors." "There are no survivors," the Vorthan leader snarled. "Only prey." That was when the impossible happened. The Aurora's promise, which had shown no signs of life for the past several hours, suddenly blazed with energy. Weapon ports that had been hidden beneath false hull plating opened along the ship's flanks. Communication arrays that had appeared damaged extended to full operational status. Most shocking of all, the ship's engines ignited with power signatures that far exceeded anything in Zephyrian databases for human technology. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the human naval intelligence ship Aurora's Promise," announced a calm, professional human voice. "Vorthan vessels, you are surrounded and outgunned. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded." The Vorthan leader's response was predictably violent and profane, but his threats were cut short as the Aurora's Promise opened fire. The weapons that emerged from the human ship were unlike anything Fex-9 had ever seen. Instead of the crude kinetic projectiles typically associated with human military doctrine, these were sophisticated energy weapons that struck with surgical precision. The Vorthan raiders found their engines disabled, their weapons offline, and their communication systems jammed within moments. It was not the overwhelming firepower that impressed Fex-9, but the restraint. The human ship could have destroyed the pirate vessels entirely but had chosen to disable them instead. "Zephyrian vessel Star Whisper," Commander Chen's voice now addressed them directly. "Please accept our apologies for the deception. You were never in any real danger, but we needed to maintain our cover until the pirates revealed themselves." As if summoned by her words, additional human ships began decloaking throughout the asteroid field. The Zephyrians found themselves in the middle of what was clearly an elaborate military operation that had been planned for months, possibly years. "Commander Chen," Fex-9 managed to say, her voice carrying both relief and amazement, "your ship appeared completely derelict. Our scans detected no life signs, no power signatures." "The wonders of human engineering," Chen replied, and Fex-9 could hear the smile in her voice. "We have gotten very good at appearing helpless when the situation requires it." As the boarding teams returned to their respective ships, Fex-9 realized she had witnessed something remarkable. The humans had not simply set a trap for pirates. They had orchestrated an elaborate deception that required patience, technological sophistication, and a deep understanding of their enemy's psychology. The Aurora's Promise had been bait, but bait with teeth, predators, and prey. Commander Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Aurora's Promise, watching her crew work with the efficient precision that had made this operation possible. The Vorthan pirate vessels hung disabled in space, their crews now facing justice for months of attacks on civilian shipping. But her attention focused primarily on the Zephyrian exploration ship that had stumbled into their carefully laid trap. "Status report on our guests." she requested from her intelligence officer. Lieutenant Marcus Webb consulted his displays. The Zephyrians are exactly what they appear to be, Commander. Pure scientific mission, no military components, no ulterior motives. Captain Thex-9 has an exemplary record in the Zephyrian Collective's exploration service. They were genuinely trying to help when they investigated our ship. Chen nodded thoughtfully. The operation had been planned to attract pirates, not innocent civilians. The appearance of the Star Whisper had been unexpected, but not unwelcome. It provided an opportunity to demonstrate human intentions to a species that had always maintained friendly relations with Earth. "Open a channel to Captain Thex-9," she ordered. The Zephyrian commander appeared on the main screen, her bioluminescent patterns indicating a mixture of curiosity and concern. "Commander Chen, I must admit I have many questions about what we have witnessed here." "I imagine you do," Chen replied. "Captain, would you be willing to accept an invitation aboard the Aurora's Promise? I believe an explanation is in order, and frankly, your perspective on our operation would be valuable." An hour later, Captain Thex-9 and her engineer cliques found themselves in the conference room of what was definitely not a research vessel. The Aurora's Promise maintained its external appearance as a civilian ship, but the interior revealed sophisticated military technology seamlessly integrated with genuine scientific equipment. "The Aurora's Promise is what we call a Q-ship," Chen explained, gesturing to displays that showed the vessel's true specifications. During Earth's ancient maritime period, merchant ships would disguise themselves as easy targets while secretly carrying heavy armaments. The principle remains sound. Clix's patterns flickered with fascination. "But the damage to your hull, the power signatures we detected, holographic projections, and carefully managed energy outputs," Lieutenant Webb answered. "We can simulate battle damage, life support failures, even crew casualties. To most sensors, we appear to be exactly what we claim to be." Thex-9 studied the tactical displays with growing appreciation. "How long have you been using this strategy?" "This particular operation has been active for 8 months, Chen replied. The Vorthan raiders had established a pattern of attacking civilian vessels in this sector. Traditional patrols were ineffective because they could hide in the asteroid fields indefinitely. We needed to make them come to us." The scope of the human operation became clear as Chen walked them through the intelligence gathering phase. Multiple fake derelict ships had been positioned throughout the sector, each broadcasting subtle signals designed to attract both salvagers and the pirates who preyed on them. Human intelligence services had spent years studying Vorthan psychology, learning their hunting patterns and preferred tactics. But surely the risk to innocent civilians was enormous, Thex-9 observed. "What if we had been harmed in the crossfire?" Chen's expression became serious. "Captain, every ship in this sector has been under continuous surveillance from the moment they entered sensor range. We had 3 contingency plans to protect your vessel, including one that would have revealed our position prematurely if necessary. The safety of innocent beings is never negotiable." Webb activated a holographic display showing the broader operational picture. "This is only one part of a sector-wide anti-piracy campaign. 7 Vorthan raiding groups have been eliminated in the past 6 months using similar tactics. We are not just hunting pirates, we are studying their entire network." The young Zephyrian engineer cliques seemed overwhelmed by the complexity of the operation. The level of patience required to remain motionless for weeks, appearing dead while waiting for enemies who might never come. "Patience is a human specialty," Chen said with a slight smile. "We spent centuries as persistence hunters on our homeworld. We can wait longer than most species find comfortable." Thex-9 found herself reconsidering everything she thought she knew about human military doctrine. The standard galactic assessment portrayed humans as aggressive and direct, preferring overwhelming force to subtle strategy. This operation revealed a species capable of extraordinary long-term planning and remarkable restraint. "The precision of your weapons fire," she noted. "You could have destroyed the Vorthan vessels entirely, but you chose to disable them instead." Every being aboard those ships will face trial for their crimes, Chen explained. Some may be conscripts who were forced into piracy. Others might provide intelligence about larger criminal networks. Death in battle serves no one except those who profit from chaos. As the briefing continued, Fex-9 learned that the Aurora's Promise was one of 12 similar vessels operating throughout human space. Each ship was staffed by volunteers who understood they might spend months appearing helpless while waiting for enemies to reveal themselves. The psychological demands were enormous, but the volunteers came forward anyway. Why take such risks? Fex-9 asked. Human space is vast. Pirates in the outer territories pose no direct threat to your core worlds. Chen was quiet for a moment before answering. Captain, every species that travels these shipping lanes deserves safe passage. The Vorthan raiders have attacked Zephyrian vessels, Altarian merchants, even ships from species that humans have never formally contacted. We cannot claim to be members of a galactic community while ignoring crimes against that community. The conversation was interrupted by communications from the bridge. The disabled Vorthan vessels were being secured by boarding parties, and additional human ships were arriving to process the prisoners and collect evidence. The operation that had taken months to prepare was entering its final phase. What happens now? Clix asked. Now we analyze everything we have learned, Webb replied. The intelligence gathered from this operation will be shared with law enforcement agencies throughout the sector. The Vorthan piracy network will be systematically dismantled. Chen walked them to the viewing port where they could see the rescued prisoners being transferred to proper detention facilities. Captain Fex-9, your presence here was unexpected, but it provided valuable confirmation of our methods. An outside observer's perspective helps us refine our operations. As the Zephyrians prepared to return to their ship, Fex-9 found herself grappling with a new understanding of humanity. These were not the aggressive expansionists portrayed in some galactic media, but patient guardians who would risk their lives to protect strangers of species they had never met. Commander Chen, she said before leaving, the Zephyrian Collective will want to know about this operation. May I report what we have witnessed here? Please do, Chen replied. In fact, we would welcome closer cooperation with Zephyrian Exploration Services. Your people encounter more of the galaxy than most military patrols ever see. Intelligence sharing could benefit everyone. As the Star Whisper departed for home, escorted by human vessels to ensure their safe passage, Captain Fex-9 composed her report with careful attention to detail. The galaxy needed to understand that humanity was evolving beyond simple aggression into something far more sophisticated and ultimately more dangerous to those who threatened innocent life. The Aurora's Promise resumed its derelict appearance and continued its patient hunt for the next group of predators, foolish enough to mistake human compassion for weakness. In the vast darkness of space, the silent hunters waited with the inexorable patience that had once allowed their species to chase prey across continents until exhaustion claimed them. The universe had many predators, but it had only one species that could hunt by appearing to be prey.